Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be making stuffed grape leaves. Now there are so many different versions of grape leaves from Central Asia all the way to Eastern Europe, but today we're going to be making the Kurdish edition of or the Kurdish version of stuffed grape leaves. My family's been making it this way forever, and I cannot imagine a spring without this dish. I feel like the official season starts with the Kurdish New Year on March 21st, and it goes all the way through the summer. And I'm going to show you all of the ingredients that you need in order to make this dish. So first and foremost, you're gonna need grape leaves. Now I have the jarred grape leaves here. If I can find fresh ones, I try to buy the fresh ones, but I haven't found any at the grocery store recently. Second ingredient you need is going to be rice. Now I have short grain rice. It's important that you use a short grain rice to get the right texture. And then for flavoring, we're going to be using one bunch of scallion, one bunch of fresh dill. We're going to be also using yogurt. So we always have homemade yogurt at home, but if you don't have if you don't have homemade yogurt, you can buy Greek yogurt. It's a little thicker, so I would thin it out a little bit with water, but that works just as well. I have about five to six cloves of minced garlic, and then I have fresh fava beans. So for these also, if you can't find the fresh ones at the store, you can use the frozen ones. But if I can find fresh, I always try to use fresh. And then you season to taste with salt. And this right here, I get it at the Middle Eastern markets. It's called citric acid. It gives it a tart taste. If you don't have it, you can use lemon. I never have used lemon with mine, but I'm sure it will work just as fine. And you will also need, I have probably about 2 pounds of lamb here. You will use lamb, and if you're not a fan of lamb, you can use beef. You can even use chicken, although I would definitely advise that you use red meat at least, even if it's not lamb, maybe beef. Definitely use the red meat. It tastes better, and if you don't eat meat, you can omit it altogether. So we're going to be pre-cooking the meat and the fava beans before we get started, and then we're gonna start layering everything. Now I'm going to cook the meat in the Instant Pot. I'm just going to put the meat in here and salt it and put some hot water, and then put it on the pressure cook normal for about 35 minutes should do. And I'll throw in a bay leaf as well. And just cover with hot water. Just cover like that. Put the lid on. Pressure cook. 35 minutes. And that's it. Now I'm going to cook the fava beans. Similar to the way I cook the meat, I'm just gonna put them in the Instant Pot, salt it and cover it with some hot water and cook it for about 20 minutes. It doesn't need to take as long as the meat does. now that we've cooked the meat and we've cooked the fava beans, I'm going to start assembling the rice. Well, while those were cooking, I went ahead and I chopped the scallions and the dill, and I also rinsed the rice about 3 times until the water runs clear. So now we're going to put together the rice, put all the mixings into it, and start assembling our ingredients in the pot and rolling the grape leaves. So now we're going to go ahead and put all of the yogurt in here. This was, like I said, it's 2 cups of rice and 1 cup of yogurt. And now we're gonna put the scallions and the dill in there. Just like that. We're gonna go ahead and add the minced garlic and mix it together until it all incorporates. It does look a little bit thick. I may need to add a little bit of water. Instead of water, I may go ahead and add a little bit of the broth, the lamb broth that I reserved, just so it doesn't dilute the flavor. Mix it. And you could salt to taste. I do like things a bit on the saltier side, so don't. And then this is the citric acid, and if you don't have it, you can use lemon. Continue mixing. I may need a little bit more broth. It needs to be a little runnier. So there you have it. This is the rice mixture that we're going to use to stuff the leaves. Just like that. Before I start stuffing the grape leaves, I'm gonna go ahead and start lining these up in the pot. First, I put in the cooked fava beans. Do the second layer of with the meat. Just go around like this. Like I said, this is lamb meat. This is what we normally use. But you can use beef, you can use chicken, although I recommend red meat. Or you can omit it altogether. Now we are ready to start stuffing the grape leaves like this. You want to put just a little bit in there. You don't want to stuff it too full because you want to give room to the rice to cook. So you just roll it kind of like that and then put it in a layer. It'll end up kind of between the meat and everything. So just like this. should look like this. Now I'm going to add about half a cup of olive oil. And if you're not going to be using the meat broth, you might want to add a little bit more because you don't want it to be dry. That's a mistake that I've seen happen in the past. And then I'm gonna be using the broth from the lamb that I cooked earlier, and I'm just gonna pour it in until I just barely see the broth on the edges, right up top, just a little bit. Just see it a little bit right there. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'll probably need to add more broth later as this kind of cooks with it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna top it with a little plate, just to kind of really pack it down. I'm gonna top it with the plate like this, and then I'm going to cover the pot. So the reason, and then you'll want to take that off about halfway. So I'm just gonna cover it with the top, and you're gonna want to take the plate off around 15 minutes in, I would say, and then let it cook probably for another 15 minutes, and you should be good. You will also want to reduce the heat after it starts boiling. So this is kind of about halfway through. I'm gonna just add a little bit more of this just in case, because sometimes it might seem like there's enough in there, but it might burn at the bottom, so you want to add a little bit more broth. And I'm gonna continue cooking for about 10 more minutes. Okay, so the stuffed grape leaves are done, and I've let it rest for about 20 minutes or so, and now it is time for the best part, which is flipping it. Just so pretty.